What's up everyone, Brian Phobos here. Today we're going to talk about Raiblocks again, and we're going to talk about PIVX going up as well. So let's take a look at something. Now I did sell out of another chunk of Ripple. You got to use them and lose them. Sold out of another big chunk. Basically have sold out of 90% of my position in Ripple. Again, I held my nose to buy it, felt good to sell it, but basically I bought around $1, had sold out when it went up to 3 and then it pulled back to about 250, sold about half of it out, and then sold out basically another big chunk. And I'm just gonna leave a little bit there just in case it gets added to Coinbase or something of that nature and something crazy happens, just let the rest ride. But basically some of the proceeds from this I'm going to use for this next move that we're going to talk about here with Raiblocks. Now, any of this is my own experience. You guys got to decide for yourself. So it's not financial advice. You guys know that, of course. But if you look back, if you don't know much about Raiblocks, take a look at my deep dive that I did on January 2nd. This was a really solid video, I felt like. And I took a small position in Raiblocks, basically bought 10. I only wanted to put 100 into it, but it was up at $27. And with BitGrail, where I bought it, you had to buy at least 10. And so I ended up going in $270. But most of these that run up really high, and I don't catch them before they've, if they're in their moon phase, if they're going parabolic, I try to take a light position because you don't know how high they're going to go. And then this did get up to like 33 or 34, and then it ended up pulling back and the overall market has sunk down. So we see, if we look at the chart here, we see that it's retraced about half of what it was from where I bought it. So, and that's fine. I mean, that's to be expected to some capacity, and the whole overall market was going down. So you see this chart on a lot of different things, but keep in mind that basically a month ago it was below $1. So these are just like insane percentage-wise, insane moves. So we don't really know how high it's going to go. But if you don't know anything about Raiblocks, I just want to say it is no transaction fees and pretty much like instant transactions. It basically takes about a second and a half for it to get there. And then there's no miners. You mine your own blocks, you mine your own transactions. So basically the supply is what it is going to be. There's not going to be more coming into existence from miners and to incentivize miners to do it and everything. You're basically processing your own transactions. So you don't have the situation where there's coins being mined and people need to pay for their equipment or their electricity. So that's one interesting situation with this. Now, if we see as far as as far as the markets are concerned, it did get added to KuCoin earlier, which was great. There's a lot of volume coming from that, but we don't see Binance yet. It won the vote 2 weeks ago and still has not been added to Binance. And a lot of people are like, when is it going to get added? When is it going to get added? Well, there isn't any news on that yet, and it's hard to say. So at this point, I think with the overall market going down and people getting super impatient like they are in the crypto market, we've had this big sell-off in Raiblocks. Now, I took a light position of only 10 for this purpose because it's like sometimes stuff happens super fast, and then sometimes people get impatient and stuff doesn't happen overnight like they want, and then things sell off. So my plan is to take a bigger position, but I'm actually not going to take it today. This is going to be kind of an interesting situation, but I'm going to hold out for a week. Now, I might get burned by that. It might not work out in my favor, and I might still end up upside down when this goes up from being added to Binance, but I'm willing to take the chance. Maybe Raiblocks falls to 10, and then I'm able to take a bigger position and maybe end up with about 60 of them. And then let's say if it goes parabolic and goes up 30 or 40%, then I've got a chance to basically not be upside down anymore and be in the money. Now, this is Crypto Investor. I only agree with about maybe 60% of the stuff he says. He really doesn't like Raiblocks, and he basically in this, I happened to click on this video that he just made like yesterday, and he basically was saying that, oh, Raiblocks is a pump and dump, and you know, is trying to almost take credit for like calling this one, like, oh, I called it, you know, kind of thing. But the overall market went down like that, and a lot of people are calling that out in the comment section. You know, the whole market dumped, not only Raiblocks. Look at every crypto from December to now, and everything looks like a pump and dump, you know, and then like people are thumbs up in it and stuff like that. Other people are saying that. And that's my problem with crypto investor. He'll get very, very one-sided on something and almost kind of act like, well, he's right. But there's a lot of calls that he's actually wrong on. If you look back at my deep dive I did on January 2nd, the thing was going parabolic. It was like, you know, can it keep pumping? Question mark. That's why I only bought 10. I didn't even want to buy 10. I only wanted to buy $100 worth. Because it's like, okay, how high can it go? I want to take a position just in case, you know, stuff just continues to be crazy. But really when it boils down to it, does Raiblocks function? Yes. Pretty much instant transactions. No transaction fees, no additional coins coming into circulation, and it's been around for years. As you know, good development team, constantly working on it, that kind of stuff. So fundamentally, everything's still intact. Now, one of the big negatives to it right now is the fact that there's still not a mobile wallet. Now, you could open up the web wallet, raywallet.com, where I have my stuff, and you know, go ahead and, you know, essentially open that up on mobile. But really, for all practical purposes, there's no Android app or iPhone app. So that is, I would say, the biggest disadvantage. And then, obviously, it has to become more of an integral piece of the crypto community by getting added to things like Binance, hopefully in the future, stuff like Bittrex, so on and so forth. But at this given time, you know, it is on KuCoin, and then it will be added to Binance here eventually, because 2 weeks ago it did win the vote. So let's take a look. Reddit, you know, there's a lot of activity going on Reddit. The community is really strengthened from this whole situation, and there's a lot of people going on about, you know, the rebranding to Nano. Now, I think that's mainly rumor. That was never really officially said from what I'm seeing. So not sure if it's going to be, you know, some people are saying that Block should be knocked off and it should just be Ray, like Pay with Ray or Ray Pay, which I think is decent. Other people are saying, well, you know, switch it to Nano. So they're debating about that. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Third-party development, AeroPay, a payment processor for Raiblocks in partnership with raywallet.com. So here's RayPay. Again, this is in beta. And they're basically saying the limit is $100, you know, just kind of for testing purposes. But basically, you'd be able to accept payments for Raiblocks on a website. So this is new. And then the fee would be 0.5%, you know, to use the service. So that could be an integral piece for merchants. And again, the Ray wallet works well. You have ownership of your keys and everything, just like my Monero or blockchain.info or my Ether wallet, that kind of stuff. Now let's look at PIVX. PIVX just got added to Binance. It's up 42.87% today. And in this situation, you know, it got pretty much added to Binance out of nowhere. So nobody really knew it was going to be added, to my understanding, except insiders. So you didn't have kind of the anticipation that you have with Raiblocks. So how much of Raiblocks' price is factored in to the fact that people already know it's eventually at some point going to get added, even though people are super impatient? I'm not really sure. Now, PIVX has a lot of volume coming out of Korea, you know, compared to their Korean currency here, but it's been on there for a while, and there was a large pump here today when it did get added to Binance, you know, over here. So here's Binance, and this is a 1 minute. So this is all moving fast, but this just got added today. So, you know, what ultimately happens to this? Now you have to keep in mind that with PIVX, For one, it's been out a lot longer, and it's, you know, had a more steady increase over here, you know, but then, you know, obviously had like a pretty parabolic move, and then his kind of went up and down and stuff like that. But there are a lot of master nodes out there that they're getting earnings. They might want to take some earnings off the table kind of thing. You might have a sell-off. With Raiblocks, you don't have master nodes, you don't have miners, you don't have anybody kind of like that, but it was distributed through faucets. So it's just really hard to say distribution-wise how many people have Raiblocks and kind of where they purchased at, and you know, who would potentially kind of take some off the table when this gets added to Binance, and if it can go up 30 or 40% like we see over here. Now, here's my strategy. Once again, just to repeat it, I'm actually not going to buy in right now. I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to take my chance with this, and I'm going to wait for another week because, you know, it's the coin of January, but let's just pretend, you know, they're bogged down with some other stuff and it doesn't get added for another week. So I'm going to maybe wait here a few days, see if this goes down. Maybe it goes down to 10 bucks, you know, and maybe comparative to Bitcoin, it falls some more. And then so me selling out of, let's say, Ripple, maybe I'm in some of this other stuff, either Bitcoin or Ethereum, then I might be able to kind of do better, you know, comparative to Raiblocks, and then ultimately buy in here a little bit later. Now, if they add it tomorrow, then I'm probably still going to be upside down. Even if this pumps, you know, 30, 40%, I'm not going to catch up with where I bought out of $27, and I'll have to wait till a much, much later date for this to all cool down and buy back in later. But we'll see. I'm going to take my chance for a week. That's going to be my strategy. You know, that's not financial advice. I'm just kind of telling you guys what I'm doing and the way I'm looking at this. And it is risky. This is kind of a risky situation because even if I buy in, and let's say I get up to maybe like 60 coins or something, if this doesn't pump enough, I could still end up being upside down. And really, when it boils down to it, this is going to have to get a lot more acceptance and, you know, onto additional exchanges beyond Binance, in my mind. I mean, it would be nice if it got added to Poloniex and Bittrex and, you know, stuff like that as well. And then I think it could have a potential to really do well. And then if they get hopefully a mobile app, you know, for Android and iPhone up, that could be a huge thing. Somebody is working on getting this on the Ledger Nano. So somebody's kind of hacking that together. So people are working on stuff. That's a positive sign. We'll see what happens with Raiblocks. But anyway, guys, that's the video for today. Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos. And if you hit me up on Steemit, it's a lot easier to reply to comments and get the engagement, and you're able to start earning cryptocurrency by just commenting out there. People upvote you, so there's a lot more incentive to be on Steemit, be on DTube, and get the potential upvotes for the engagement. Whereas it's a little harder for me to reply to all the comments with YouTube because there's just so many of them and everything. And there's a lot more incentive to be over here. But anyway, follow me on Steemit, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube at Brian Phobos. We're going for 990,000 subscribers by the end of the year. See you guys later.